weekend is almost here, and there are a lot of fun things to do here in Southern California. Michael Juliano is an editor at Time Out Los Angeles, and he's back with some of the top picks. Hi, Michael. Thanks for joining us, as always.
Of course.
And, you know, we're kind of coming out of this fire haze. We're starting to do things again on the weekends, and, of course, this is a really big weekend for Lunar New Year. There are
so many celebrations this weekend. This is definitely the most popular weekend for events in LA. The one I specifically want to talk about, though, is in Pasadena at the Pacific Asia Museum. This had actually been closed because of the Eaton fire, just due to, air quality concerns. They reopened earlier this week. They have free admission through the end of the week, and on Saturday in particular, they have this Lunar New Year celebration. It's lots of fun. They have like lion dances, music, drum performances, martial arts. You can also go inside the museum totally for free. They have this Saigo Chang exhibition right now, all about like gunpowder art. Very cool. Lots of great local tie-ins too, though. So there's complimentary tea from Callisto Tea House. This is a spot in northern Pasadena that just reopened due to the fires. There's also story time from the Altadena Public Library, and they're going to be accepting donations as well for art supplies for the local school districts. So great way to celebrate, great way to give back, just a little bit of everything on Saturday.
Yeah, and you can go have fun, but also help that community as they begin this rebuilding process.
Absolutely.
Okay, Barnsdall Art Park, which when I lived in Hollywood, we loved it because it's so family friendly.
Yeah, this is a great destination in East Hollywood. Beautiful views from there. And there's two things going on there this weekend. So there's the Dance Camera West Film Festival. These are dance-inspired screenings, a mix of like documentaries and short-form stuff at the Barnsdall Gallery Theater, which is up on top of the hill there. Now, most of these programs cost about $25, but they made some modifications to that as a result of the fires. So they switched to a pay-what-you-can model to get as many people involved as possible. And then right next door, you're seeing here over at the Hollyhock House, which is, the beautiful, historic Frank Lloyd Wright home. There's this local photographer, Jana Ireland, who was commissioned to take these really beautiful, intricate portraits of some spots of the house. So Thursdays through Saturdays, you can tour the Hollyhock House. It's only $7, and it's like one of the most beautiful spots in the city.
Okay, and Prosperity Market.
This pops up a couple times a year. This is this farmer's market and bit of music. It's this celebration held on Slauson that celebrates Black-owned businesses and Black-owned farmers. So there's about 35 plus vendors there. There's a wine garden from 1010 Wines in Englewood. Now, this was originally supposed to be a Black History Month and anniversary celebration, but they've pivoted a bit in face of the fires. So Prosperity Market's going to be donating some of their proceeds. They're encouraging their vendors to do it as well. And then in addition, there's some giving back things going on there. So they're asking people to bring gift cards with them that'll be donated directly to folks impacted. And if you yourself were impacted, they're going to be distributing baby supplies, have some job placement programs. And I think I forgot to mention, but this is Sunday afternoon at Hilltop Coffee. So.
And that's great, too, because we know that the Black population in Altadena was so negatively impacted by the fires. And so to have their community being there and then the rest of us can come and support, that's awesome.
Absolutely.
Thank you for joining us, and thank you for that long list of things to do this weekend.
Of course.
Oh, wait, we have one more. Skirball Center.
I'm glad we have time.
Sorry.
So it's the New Year of Trees at the Skirball. This is another one. There's a theme with a lot of this, right, of reopenings. The Skirball's reopening Sunday. It, too, had been closed because of the Palisades fire. So they're reopening with a free day on Sunday. It's this Jewish holiday that celebrates nature. The New Year of Trees is all about, just enjoying, the natural world around you. And I can't think of a better occasion for that. So there's going to be workshops on composting. You can learn about soil. You can sample fruit. Of course, you can explore inside the museum. It's all free on Sunday. So you can see the Diane von Furstenberg exhibit. If you want to go to the Noah's Ark playground, that still does have an admission fee, but everything else is free to enjoy.
Yeah, it's nice to see things opening back up. Thanks so much for being here. And for more information on all the events we talked about, just check out our website, kcalnews.com, and click on Seen on TV. We want to go over now to Amy Johnson to see what's coming up on the 10 at 10.
Good morning. Here are some of the stories that we're tracking for the 10 at 10. Their home survived the fires, but it's going to be a long road to get back inside. On your sites, Christine Lazar has the latest on the struggles this family is facing. And music's biggest night is almost here. We're going to have a look at some of the big name artists as we count down to the 67th Grammy Awards. We'll have those stories and so much more when we see you for the 10 at 10.
9:51, a live look from LAX. Not looking too busy as we head into the weekend. Grammy weekend is here. Sorry, I'm reading your stuff.
Okay. I'm just here along for the ride. It's all good. Grammy weekend is here. And
I'm just so excited for the weekend.
Yes, we both are. And we're getting closer to it. Presenters are also gearing up for the big night.
Kalina Estrinos is here now with her one-on-one with a rapper, songwriter, and record producer who in total has received 11 Grammy nominations and 3 wins. So, you know, kind of a slouch, right?
Yeah, totally. He's absolutely amazing. This gives us something to look forward to on Sunday. I sat down with record producer Hit Boy, a SoCal native who's produced worldwide hits and describes himself as an introvert using music as his expressive outlet.
But you've worked with so many artists.
Yeah.
How many people do you think use this microphone?
I had this mic for years, so at least 1,000 artists rapped on this mic for sure.
We're not talking about just anyone here. This 3-time Grammy-winning producer has worked with megastars like Jay-Z and Kanye West.
Don't let me get in my zone. The stars is in the building. They hands to the ceiling.
Beyonce.
This diamond, my diamond, this rock.
And Kendrick Lamar, just to name a few. Big names aside, Hit Boy's drive is simple. His passion for art and music with no real method to his madness.
My formula is not having a formula. Just sit down and whatever I'm feeling at the moment, let's go. Let's make it happen.
Hit Boy, whose real name is Chauncey Hollis Jr., was first introduced to music by his uncle, Rodney Benford, who was a member of Troop, an R&B group out of Pasadena.
That was my first inspiration. I saw them doing videos, dressing fly, dancing, singing, traveling the world, and you know, I was just like, I got to watch that as a 3-4-year-old kid, and I'm like, this is what I want to do.
As a teenager, he lived in the Inland Empire, where he recalls selling or handing out CDs at Ontario Mills, even choosing beats over sports.
I tell my coach, I'm not playing no more. I'm gonna go home and make beats and record every day. And he was like, bro, what are you talking about? He was like, nah. And my teachers was like, you know, it's 1 in a million chance that you ever gonna make it in the music. You need to do X, Y, and Z. And I just was like, nah, like, I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I'm gonna make it happen.
The MySpace era offered enough visibility to get the attention of record producer Polo the Don, who was working with will.i.am and Fergie at the time. Hit Boy's first placement was a Jennifer Lopez song called Forever off her album Brave, released in 2007. But it wasn't until a few years later where a major moment in his career happened with the song Paris.
That was just a beat. I emailed Kanye, and that was like months prior to it even being recorded. We had actually went in the studio, me, him, and Jay-Z. We worked on a bunch of other ideas. We worked on stuff that I was excited about, thinking that this stuff was making the album. So I come back home to LA. None of these songs that we worked on in person make it anywhere, but the one beat I emailed randomly to Kanye months prior ended up being Paris.
That song earning Hit Boy a Grammy win.
I was riding around in the V12 with the racks in the middle.
He would later earn another for Racks in the Middle alongside Roddy Ricch and the late Nipsey Hussle.
And the Grammy goes to?
And a third with Nas,
King's Disease,
which won Best Rap Album at the 63rd Grammy Awards.
I went rock boy to hot boy to hit boy to big boy.
This year, Rhapsody's Asteroids is up for Best Rap Song, a track featuring and produced by Hit Boy.
Yeah. Hit Boy, young and driven, no college in the plan.
How do you stay so passionate?
Because I still feel myself getting better.
But since you're in the studio all day, I'm guessing this is what helps you stay.
The best
stay,
snack on the market. Black Forest, holla at me.
The magic happens in this studio, where he spent days on end working on music. And reminders of all the work he's done fill his studio, along with a wall dedicated to the late Nipsey Hussle.
So we ended up doing Racks in the Middle. Did the song right here. That's why you got this whole, like, you know, this Nipsey last song, like, that he officially put out himself. So I just had to honor him in that type of way.
Now, Hit Boy is focusing on his own music, recently releasing Letter to My Mentors, paying homage to those who've made an impact on his journey. But even with the worldwide recognition, Hit Boy's most treasured musical milestone, those he's made with his family.
What's been your proudest moment?
Just turn 4.
Man, making a song with my son, man, for his fourth birthday party. You could hear me laughing in the clip when I'm filming him because I just was blown away by the fact that, like, it's really, like, he really is in this energy.
His advice to those starting out, be passionate and always stay the course because you never know when something will hit.
The music, if it's good to you, somebody's gonna connect with it in the way you do.
Do you feel like this is a good luck charm?
I mean, yeah, I guess somebody $12,000 good luck charm, yeah, sure.
Kalina Estrinos, KCAL News.
And his little kiddo, C3, is so cute. And Hit Boy has so much to his name. It's so tough to squeeze everything that he's done into one story. So fans, don't come for me, but he has so much in store for you, like his own album on the way. And he also talked about embracing AI and new technology, encouraging others to look into it and see how it could be beneficial for their own workflow as well. And we have got you covered for music's biggest night this Sunday. Watch our Grammy pre-show live from the red carpet at 4 p.m. I'll be out there with Gray Drake. Then watch the Grammys at 5 on CBS Los Angeles Channel 2. Ladies, back to you.
Kalina, thank you. Well, fresh out of the Slammer and fresh off her Eras tour, Taylor Swift will present at the Grammys on Sunday. The last time she presented a Grammy Award was way back in 2009.
Really?
Yeah, I was surprised by that. When Swift took the stage last year, she announced her most recent album, The Tortured Poets Department.
It's been a year?
Yeah, a year. That album earning her 6 nominations this year, including Album of the Year. Swift already has 4 Album of the Year Grammys under her belt, the most of any artist.
Local heroes and first responders got a major thank you from the Boys in Blue. Dodger players visited fire zones yesterday. Shohei Ohtani was in Pacific Palisades, where he met with firefighters and even drove a fire truck. Look at that. He looks good up there. Team also presented the LAFD Foundation with a check for $350,000. Meanwhile, in Pasadena, the Blue Crew took over a Jack in the Box, taking orders, serving food, and greeting customers, many who had been directly impacted by the wildfires. The team also announced they would be donating $100 million to lead LA Rise wildfire recovery efforts earlier this week.
And thanks for watching KCAL News Mornings at 9.
The 10 at 10 with Amy Johnson starts right now.
Now at 10, the search for answers continues. More victims were identified following the devastating Midair collision between an American Airlines regional jet and a military helicopter near the nation's capital. Then it's the next phase in our local fire recovery. The Army Corps of Engineers has a long list of homes to clean up across LA. We're going to give you a first-hand look from Santa Monica. And some of music's biggest stars take over Los Angeles to give wildfire victims some hope. We're going to have a closer look for you coming up next.
This is KCAL News Mornings.
Hello and welcome to the 10 at 10. I'm Amy Johnson. Here are some of the other stories that we're tracking for you this Friday, January 31st. Music's biggest night is almost here. We're going to show you what you can expect on the Grammy stage and how much have egg prices really gone up. We're getting a reality check in the checkout line. And some of our local fire victims need to replace their entire wardrobe. How one spot in Santa Monica is stepping up to help. But first to our top story. At any moment, the U.S. Attorney and the FBI will announce major new court filings related to the Palisades fire. KCAL's Amanda Starantino is live in downtown LA. And Amanda, these filings are coming out as we speak.
Good morning. Yes, and I just learned new information from the Department of Justice that this is all in regards to that incident on January 9th when a drone hit a super scooper working on the Palisades fire. Now, we have learned that a Culver City man has agreed to plead guilty to the unsafe operation of that drone during that fire. So that's what's going to be announced here. We're going to be learning more details about what surrounds that. But if you remember, that caused a lot of problems for us. The super scooper is a great tool in fighting those wildfires. And then because of that crash, it damaged that firefighting aircraft and put it out of commission. So we lost a huge tool in this massive fire that caused so much damage to that area. So again, more details on a Culver City man who has agreed to plead guilty for the use of that drone. Amy.
All right, thanks so much, Amanda. Let's check in with our meteorologist, Amber Lee, now. She's joining us with your next weather forecast. Good morning, Amber.
Hi, good morning, Amy. We made it. It is Friday, and we are looking at some beautiful weather in store as we head toward the weekend. Look at this beautiful shot. This is our Catalina Island camera, and you can see that it is clear here, and we are also looking at pretty clear skies as we head into the rest of Southern California as we head a little bit closer to the mainland. So our normal temperatures for this time of year normally should be in the upper 60s. Right now, nice and cool, 56. We started off a bit chilly, so you definitely need some sort of layered long sleeves, a hoodie or a light jacket before you head out the door. By the time we head toward the afternoon, we'll have a lot more of that sunshine, so it's going to feel nice and mild, but still slightly below average. The weekend looks even better. We're still dealing with more of the dry, quiet weather pattern, but all eyes are on next week's forecast because now our rain chances, Amy, continue to go up. And you know that we definitely need all that rain here in Southern California. Even though we got that rain earlier in the week, we are still well below from where we should be, but you could see that our rain chances start to bump up as we head into Tuesday, Wednesday, and also into the first part of Thursday. So coming up my next weather forecast, I'll tell you just how much rain we're expecting and kind of what we're in store for because it's part of an atmospheric river. Amy, back to you.
All right. Thanks so much, Amber. We are following some developing news. Fire tore through a building in Pomona. Assignment Manager Mark Liu is at the desk with the challenges those firefighters had to face. Mark.
Yeah, Amy, this was a pretty big fire. Partial roof collapse, part of the wall started to bow out, and the facade nearly came off the side of the building. And on top of it all, this may be a case of arson. Now, let me show you some video from SoCal. This fire broke out in Pomona at Center and Gary. The first 911 calls came in at about 5:25 this morning. LA County Fire said their engines were on scene 3 minutes later. They found a 7,500 square foot office building there completely engulfed in flames. Now, quickly determined this building was vacant. It may have at one time been a realtor's office, but there was no business inside at the time. But there was fire all through it. They immediately declared a second alarm. That's where they call for more resources and defensive operations, where they only fight this fire for the outside. As you can see, they put those ladders up there, those primary sticks, and then they used those hose lines to get fire down, water down onto the fire. This was an extended firefight, took more than an hour to get this extinguished. And as I said, the roof partially collapsed and one of the walls was actually structurally compromised. They're getting building and safety out there to check on it. And coming back out live here to me on top of it all, firefighters at the scene, the commanders, they requested law enforcement because they had a witness tell them that moments before this fire started, someone was seen running away from this building. So that will now be part of the arson investigation into how that fire started this morning. No injuries reported here, though. That's the very latest from the desk. I'll send it back to you.
All right. Thank you, Mark. Well, in story number 2 this morning, the search for victims and answers. They continue in the wake of that collision between an American Airlines regional jet and that military helicopter near the nation's capital. Now, so far, we don't have all of the IDs yet on the pilots and the co-pilot of the Black Hawk helicopter, but we're learning the chief was Ryan O'Hara. He leaves behind a wife and 1-year-old son. The Army saying all 3 crew members were very experienced. Now, the flight crew of American Airlines Flight 5342 has also been identified. Flight attendant Ian Epstein was a father and stepfather whose daughter is set to be married in 2 months. Flight attendant Denasia Elder was a wife and mother of 2. 28-year-old First Officer Samuel Lilly was about to be promoted to captain. He was also planning to get married this year. And the pilot has been identified as 34-year-old Jonathan Campos. Well, federal investigators are now reviewing 2 flight recorders, the so-called black boxes, to try to figure out what caused Wednesday night's collision. All 67 people involved are presumed dead, according to officials on the ground. KCAL News reporter Natalie Brand has more from Reagan National Airport in Arlington, Virginia.
Heavy equipment is expected to be brought in to lift the wreckage of American Airlines Flight 5342 and the military helicopter from the Potomac River as investigators search for answers.
We'll look at the aircraft, we will look at the helicopter, we will look at the environment in which they were operating.
The National Transportation Safety Board says it's analyzing the plane's 2 black boxes, which were recovered from the water Thursday night.
They are a critical part of almost any investigation. They give us a lot of data points. They can tell us about communications that we may not know about.
At the time of the crash, both aircraft were flying at about 400 feet, according to data from FlightAware and Flight Radar 24. Military helicopters are supposed to stay below 200 feet in the area. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth addressed the issue on Fox News.
someone was at the wrong altitude. The investigation will help us understand that. Was the Black Hawk too high? Was it on course? Right now, we don't quite know.
CBS News has also confirmed the same air traffic control worker managing helicopter traffic was also handling some planes taking off and landing around the time of the collision. Sources say those tasks are usually handled by two different people at that time of day.
It is not uncommon for us to routinely combine positions, decombine positions.
Nick Daniels, the president of the National Air Traffic Controllers Association, tells CBS News the number of air traffic controllers is dependent on the workload.
Quite often, if we don't have enough people, we begin reducing how many aircraft that we can efficiently move and safely move through the airspace.
According to CBS News data team analysis, reports of near midair collisions at the nation's airports are on the rise. At Reagan National Airport, at least 9 near midair collisions have been reported over the last 20 years.
Natalie Brand, KCAL News.
And we've been learning more about the heartbreaking losses. One of them is attorney and professor Kia Duggins. Howard University says she was about to begin a new chapter teaching at its law school this fall. Duggins was a civil rights attorney, and Howard University says she was dedicated to fighting unconstitutional policing and unjust money bail practices in Washington, D.C., Texas, and Tennessee. Well, we've been talking about the loss in the figure skating community as well. 6 members from the skating club in Boston were killed. 13-year-old Gina Hahn and 16-year-old Spencer Lane, 2 up-and-coming skaters. Han's mother, Jen, and the mother of the boy, Christine, were also on the plane, along with their children's coaches, world champions Vadim Naumov and Evgenia Shishkova. This is a picture of 11-year-old Sean Kay and his mother, Julia. They were from Delaware and died in the crash, along with his ice dancing partner, Angela Yang, and their coach, Sasha Kursonov. They were attending the National Development Camp in Wichita, Kansas. Kursonov's daughter posted online, "I miss you, Dad. I would do anything to bring you back and tell you that I loved you one more time." Be sure to stay with KCAL News and KCALnews.com for the latest on the mid-air collision, the investigation, and the victims. We're also streaming 24/7 on CBS News Los Angeles. Let's get to story number 3 now. There's growing concern in Pacific Palisades about the next phase of wildfire recovery. KCAL News reporter Cara Finstrom went to Malibu this morning, where protesters are expected a little later today.
Those protesters will be coming to this area where you see all of this activity. They are concerned about what's called phase 1 of recovery. That's the EPA's removal of hazardous waste. One of their worries that even temporary storage here at the site of the old Topanga Ranch Motel could cause runoff problems in nearby waters. With the EPA now taking the lead, folks here will also notice LA City Fire's presence leaving.
Today, the majority of our fire resources are going to be leaving. So we're going to be having our LAFD Coupa inspectors who are working with the EPA will be remaining on scene. They are looking for lithium-ion batteries, and these batteries can be found in our electric vehicles, also in electric bikes, electric scooters, and then just regular household items like propane tanks, oils, and other household chemicals.
The EPA not providing much detail yet as far as their work in the Palisades burn area. Once they wrap up hazardous waste removal at individual sites, the landowners will have 2 options for getting rid of the rest of the debris. They can hire their own contractor, or they can allow the Army Corps of Engineers to do it. The Corps will bill the homeowner's insurance and will not charge for anything not covered. More than 600 right of entry forms giving Corps permission to do so were submitted the first day they were available. Homeowners will have until March 31st to complete them. The Corps has a history of incredible work in disaster areas, but in 2017 in Northern California, 1,000 homeowners whose homes were devastated by fire said contractors damaged or removed perfectly fine foundations, retaining walls, and other infrastructure because they were paid by the ton. We've reached out to the Corps for comment and are awaiting that. We also raised the issue with area Congressman Brad Sherman.
The first thing I do is I call the relevant colonel of the Army Corps of Engineers and say that we have to design these contracts so there isn't a perverse incentive to take more. than is necessary. Thank you for bringing that to my attention, and I will bring it. I'm sure they've thought of it, but I want to make sure that there's no perverse incentive in these contracts.
The Malibu Daily News posted a call for protesters to come to this spot at Topanga and PCH this afternoon. Where to keep hazardous waste, even temporarily as it's being processed, has been an issue in both the Palisades and the Eaton Fire recovery areas. Cara Finstrom, KCAL News.
Well, a news conference is getting started in downtown LA. It's about those major court filings involving the drone that took a super scooper out of commission during the wildfires that Amanda mentioned a little earlier. Let's listen in.
Used by firefighting aircrafts conducting a